Today, we are going to learn a grammar chapter, Modal Auxiliaries. This chapter finds a place in the second unit of our 11th standard English textbook. Before I explain a lot of ideas about the particular topic, I want to convey some important ideas about grammar learning. Some students may have an idea that learning grammar is difficult, but I must emphasize this point in the beginning of the class that learning grammar can be very easy if you apply a few basic ideas. In the learning of English grammar, you have to focus on two important points. The first point is that you should learn the grammar rules, then you should learn how the grammar rules should be used in sentences. You don't worry about learning of modal auxiliaries here, because I am going to explain every grammatical term very clearly with the relevant examples. Let me start sharing some ideas about modal auxiliaries. The word modal has come from the word mood. The word modal is an adjective term of the word mood. In this modal auxiliaries, a speaker can express the mood very clearly. By the use of modal auxiliary, it is possible for a speaker to express his or her mood effectively. By the use of modal auxiliary, it is equally possible for the listener to understand what the speaker's mood is. Regarding auxiliaries, I must explain the point here. The word auxiliaries refers to helping verbs. In English grammar, there are 24 auxiliary verbs. Among the 24 auxiliary verbs, 13 are called modal auxiliaries, 11 are called primary auxiliaries. In this class, I am going to discuss only the modal auxiliaries. There are 13 modal auxiliaries. Among these 13 modal auxiliaries, 4 are called semi or quasi modal auxiliaries. Let me start explaining every auxiliary one by one. Every modal auxiliary has got a reason to be used. We cannot just like it use it in our sentence. There has to be a strong reason for us to use the modal auxiliary. That means that there is a function for the application of modal auxiliary in our sentence. The first modal auxiliary that we are going to learn here is can. The word can is used to express ability. The word can be used to express request to. In the examples given, you can easily understand my friend can organize a seminar perfectly. In this sentence, I am expressing my friend's ability to organize a seminar perfectly. Many of you know that organizing a seminar or a meeting is not very easy. But my friend has got the ability to conduct such kind of conferences or seminars or meetings perfectly. In this example, I have mentioned that my friend can organize a seminar perfectly. The word can refers to my friend's ability. In the second example, you may find an interrogative form. Can you help me? When the speaker wants to request the listener, the speaker can think about using the modal auxiliary can. That's why I use the word can in the second example. Can you help me? In this, the speaker is requesting the listener to do something. Then the next modal auxiliary is could. The word could is used to express past ability. It is used for possibility. It is used for more politeness. So a modal auxiliary can be used for more than one reason. If you take this first example, during childhood, Arun could run quickly. In this example, I have told you about Arun. When Arun was a small boy, he had the habit of going here and there. He was very active That's why he could run quickly. Now Arun may be an old man, or Arun may be not very young. That's why he may not be able to run very quickly. That's why I told you, during childhood, the word childhood talks about Arun's past time. So past time is mentioned, Arun's past ability is also mentioned. That's why in the example, one can find the use of the word could. Then the second example, by his dress, I guess that he could be a rich man. I do not know the particular person is really rich or not. By his dress or attire, I have come to understand that, or I have come to guess that the person could be a rich man. So the word could can be used to express possibility. Then the next word is for politeness. So the word could can be used for more politeness. This point is very important in schools and colleges. You know very well that some students may not feel comfortable in asking questions to the teachers in a proper manner. You know, some students are uttering, sir, doubt, sir, doubt. This is not, I think, a proper way of expressing the idea. This is called in English what? Informal English. This is called in English fragment. If you take the example, could you clarify my doubt, sir? In this example, the speaker is expressing politeness. This point has to be highlighted. Whenever the speaker expresses politeness to others, it is very much possible for the speaker to get a positive reply. It is important for the students to be very polite to the teachers and the elders. So we have to think about using the word could when we want to express more politeness. Then the next modal auxiliary is may. The word may is used for again a few more reasons. It may be used for permission, future possibility, blessing. May I express my view? Here I used it to express permission. In a meeting or a group discussion, many people may be sharing the ideas. In such a context, we need to use etiquette or decorum very carefully. At this juncture, I must explain the term etiquette. Etiquette refers to normal social behavior by an individual. Decorum refers to the general behavior which an official is supposed to employ. May I express my view? In this example, the speaker is seeking others' permission to express or air his view. Then the second example, my friends may meet me tomorrow. In this example, I am not very certain whether my friends will come here to meet me or not. There is a thin chance for my friends to come and meet me. Of course, possibility is there for them, but I cannot tell you certainly that my friends will come and meet me tomorrow. There is a chance for them to come and meet me tomorrow. In the third example, one can easily understand that for expressing our blessing, we can use the word may. That's why in many places you might have found the people using this, may God bless you, may you live long, like that. These are the reasons for may. Then might. Might is for future possibility too. It is also like may in some other ways, but the point here is that when there is a fat chance, this phrase has to be highlighted. The word fat chance refers to no chance at all. When there is no chance at all, we can use the word might. And then when you want to express dissatisfaction to others, you can use the word might. Morgan might face financial crisis. In this example, it is very clear that Morgan is a very rich man. There may not be any chance for him to face any financial crisis. That's why we have used the word might. So when anything may not happen, certainly, when anything may not happen at all, we can think about using might instead of may. Then the next example is very clear. When I am not happy about anybody, I may express this particular modal verb or modal auxiliary might. You might pay more attention to your appearance. Here I am expressing my dissatisfaction in a gentle manner. This is also the reason for using might. Then the next word is must. Must is used for necessity or personal obligation. You must obey the rules. It's very important. It's necessity, definitely. That's why you must obey the rules. When I want to express any personal obligation, I can use the word must in my sentence. I must reduce weight. I am very obese. I am very fat. I must reduce weight. In that case, for expressing a personal obligation, we can use the word must in the sentence. Then we have got the word shall. Shall is used for expressing our offer. Shall I join your class? I just try to ask somebody, I try to express my offering of joining somebody's class. Shall I join your class? Then we can use our shall when there is the indication of future time, especially for the subjects I or we. If we find a sentence having future time reference with the subjects like I or we can use the word shall. That's in the example, I shall meet my brother tomorrow. This sentence expresses my future intention of meeting my brother tomorrow. Then the next is, modal auxiliary is should. Should is used for strong advice. It is for duty to, and it is used for suggestion. You should respect the elders. This point has to be highlighted. When we want to advise anybody very strongly, we can use the word should in the sentence. When you go to a doctor to take any treatment, after just checking you thoroughly, the doctor may just write a few medicines on the prescription sheet, and he may tell you that you should take these tablets, otherwise you will fall ill. So here the doctor cannot pass an order that you must take the tablets like that. He can give you only a strong advice. That's why for expressing strong advice, one can use should in the sentence. And for expressing any idea to others as a remainder of the duty, you can use should. You should keep your promise. So it is again a duty, we can say. It is expressing the duty. Then the word will. Will is used for certainty, promise, and futurity. When a speaker is certain of the particular act to be completed, he can use the word will in the sentence. I am very clear that there is a friend called Manoj. He will be getting the job very soon. I am very certain, because he is very knowledgeable, he is talented, he has completed his degrees. So it is certain that he is going to get the job soon. That's why I have mentioned like the sentence, Manoj will get a job soon. Here I am very certain. I am expressing certainty regarding Manoj getting a job. Then I will help the needy. Here I am expressing my promise. I have the habit of helping the poor. We have helped the needy. In such a case, I am expressing my promise in a very strong manner, for which I have used the word will. And for futurity too, you can use it for other subjects like my friend will come here tomorrow. Like that, for futurity also you can use the word will. And the next example, would. Would is used for expressing one's willingness. This is very common. Example I have given you, I would like to visit the Taj Mahal. I have the willingness to visit the Taj Mahal. I am desirous of looking at the Taj Mahal. That's why to express one's willingness, one can think about using the word would in the sentence. I would like to visit the Taj Mahal. Then for request, when a speaker wants to request somebody, the speaker can think about using the word would. Would you support me in danger? Here I think he is seeking his friend's support, he is expressing his request there. And the next example is, would you mind guiding me? This is the best example of expressing one's politeness to others. Would you mind guiding me? In this, whenever we use our mind in this question like that, there is a chance of using would. Then in the choice, I have got two choices. I can stay here or I can go abroad. In these two choices, there is a chance of using would. I would rather stay here than go abroad. So in this also I use would because there is an expression of choice between two things. In that case you can use. Then the last example, if I were a kite, I would fly. In this particular example, a hypothetical idea has been conveyed. You may have a doubt, sir, hypothetical is a new word. I have not come across a word. The point is that the word hypothetical refers to imaginary or unreal idea. That idea cannot be real. In such a case, you can use the word would. I want to explain this sentence a little bit in detailed manner. If I were a kite, I am a human being. How can I be a kite? It is not possible. It's an unreal idea. If I were a kite is called grammatically a subordinative clause. I would fly is an example of main clause. This idea conveys an imaginary point. In that case, we can use would in the main clause before the verb. So with this, you have come to understand about a few modal auxiliaries. Now, I would like to tell you this interesting point about the use of a few modal auxiliaries in one common place. The modal auxiliaries like would, could, should and might can be used in indirect speeches too for specific reasons. Because of time factor, I have given you only one example. Arun said, I can speak English fluently. In this sentence, the word can in the direct speech has to be transformed into could in indirect speech. So the answer is Arun said that he could speak English fluently. That's the right answer. And like that, if you find will in the direct speech, in the indirect speech it can become would. If you find shall in the direct speech, it can become should in direct speech. If you find may in the direct speech, it can become might. But the most important point is that for the change of these modal verbs, like whatever I told you, you should definitely find the reporting verb in past tense. That's the most important idea. Let me start sharing a few ideas about semi-modal auxiliaries. There are 4 semi-modal auxiliaries. The first one is used to. The word used to is used for expressing a discontinued past habit. That habit might have been there with us in the past, not now. When my sister, in the example you can easily understand, when my sister was young, she used to guide me. When my sister was young, she used to be with us, she used to guide me, she used to advise me whenever I needed the guidance. Now she has got married, so she is not available at home. That's it, to express the discontinued past, one can use used to. Then the second example is ought to. Ought to is used for expressing moral obligation. There may not be any compulsion from others for us to do that one. We may think that there is a moral point for us to follow that one. For example, my neighbor is suffering, so I ought to help him. There is no compulsion from other forces. There is a compulsion only from the inner self. In such a case, we can use the word ought to. And then the next example is need. Next same modal verb is need. Need is used for necessity. We need not depend on others every day. We have to be self-reliant. This point has to be conveyed here. So for expressing necessity, we can use need in the sentence. The last example is dare. Dare is used for expressing courage. How dare you question me immodestly? This is a very strange example in which we are expressing our displeasure to somebody. To make you understand the use of modal auxiliaries, I want to give you a few following examples. Fill in the blanks with the suitable modal verbs. We are not completely sure, but Kiso may come back tomorrow. Not completely sure talks about my doubt. It talks about uncertainty. That's why I have used the word may in the particular sentence. When Kaushik was a child, he used to play in the street. In this sentence, Kaushik's past ability, Kaushik's discontinued habit. When Kaushik was a small child, he would have played in the street. Now he may be a grown-up man. He cannot go to the street and play. That's it. To express one's discontinued habit, I have used to in the second example. Can I have some more juice, please? Here, the speaker is very polite. The speaker is expressing request to the listener. That's why the use of can is there in the particular question. The fourth example, we need not paint this room now. There is no necessity for us to do the particular one. The rooms may not have any kind of dirt. That's why the speaker might have used like that. Then the fifth example, I would rather request you to check my exercise before giving it to the teacher. Here it is a kind of an offer given to the listener. Can I use your mobile phone? It's an emergency. Here the speaker is using it for, again, request. Then the seventh example, in schools, students must wear uniforms. It's compulsory. The presence of the word compulsory indicates that it is very much needed. There is a strong necessity. That's why the word must has been used. Then in the eighth example, the voyagers did not dare to drop anchor at the unknown island. The word dare talks about voyagers' courage. That's why I use the word dare in the sentence. Then the ninth example is a very special example. It is from poetry. It's from the Bible. There is a slight chance for us to use shall even for the subjects other than I or will. That's why thou shalt love your neighbor. Then the 10th example, the manager will not excuse you if you fail to complete your assignment today. In this sentence, the main class is having will. The reason is that it is in the first type of conditional clause. How we can say that it is in the first type of conditional clause? The subordinative clause has present tense. So naturally, the main clause should have future tense. In the future tense, for the subjects like he, she, it, they, we can use will. That's why I use the word will in the particular example. Then in the 11th example, Helen jotted down the important points lest she should forget it. It is also a very special example. Lest is a special conjunction. Whenever we use lest in the sentence, it should be followed by a class that should as a modal auxiliary. Then the 12th example, you should never retain me against my wishes. It is again a strong message to others. Then in the 13th example, being a Monday, the shops may not be crowded. It is again possibility. We cannot say that shops are always crowded. Only on Sundays you find the shops crowded. On Monday, do you know there is a chance for few people to come there. That's why when the speaker is not certain, when the speaker expresses possibility, he has used the word may in the particular example. I would admit my fault if I were you. In this sentence, a hypothetical idea is conveyed. That's why in the main class, one can find the use of would as a modal auxiliary. Then in the 15th example, the groom will certainly be over 30 years of age. The presence of the word certainly has to definitely express a point that the particular sentence should have will as a modal auxiliary. That's why the word will has to be there in the particular sentence. Then the 16th example, my brother will go abroad to pursue his higher studies next year. I am very certain that my brother will go to a foreign country because he is very much interested in doing a course in a foreign country. So since I am very certain, I use the word will in the particular example. Then the 17th example, it is not that urgent, you can take your own time. It is like offering somebody to do something at his own pace. Then the 18th example, there is a lot of time left, so you need not panic. There is no need for the person to get panic because he has got more than ample time to do the work. So necessity is not mentioned, that's why need not is there. May I turn on the fan, please? Here the speaker is very polite. The speaker is expressing politeness in a very gentle manner. May I turn on the fan, please? I cannot believe my eyes. It talks about the negative ability. That's the thing. So I cannot believe my eyes. Is Santosh the one who is standing there? Because Santosh would have been a very fat person in the past. Now he would have become a very thin man. That's why he has mentioned like that. Then the 21st example, Dinesh must be the richest person in the village. He has bought 2 luxury cars. In this sentence, he has just bought 2 luxury cars is a clear indication that Dinesh must be the richest person. This is called logical conclusion. For the logical conclusion also you can use must. Then the last example is that Nirmala used to write perfectly when she was 7. Again, it talks about Nirmala's discontinued habit. When Nirmala was 7 years old, she used to write perfectly. Now she may not have any kind of necessity to write. You have to revise all these ideas to get a clear idea about whatever he taught you. You may have some ideas about whatever he taught you. You have to keep on getting a chance to take a good grammar book and try to get more knowledge about grammar. This point has to be highlighted at the end. Without grammar, you cannot express your ideas very perfectly. Grammar is important for accurate communication. If you want to express any idea to anybody, you should apply grammar in the particular utterances. You should learn the rules and you should know how the rules should be used in sentences. Thank you very much for your excellent and enthusiastic watching of this program.